All right, so this workshop is going to tell you how to use function notation. A few things before we get started. This here, this piece, is called f of x. F of x, okay? That's how you say it. And all that means, all we're doing with that is replacing y. Pretty simple. So this looks a little bit tricky because we have f of x, but all it means is y. So it could be like saying y equals 2x plus 3, which you guys are familiar with, but we're just using f of x now. And this is so we can evaluate it when x is a certain number. So when it's telling us to find f of 4, all we have to do is write down our equation. So 2x plus 3. And anywhere where we see an x, we're just going to replace that with a 4. So I'm going to take the x out and put a 4 in. Now all we have to do is evaluate our function. So f of 4 equals, of course, we'll do PEMDAS first. 2 times 4 is 8. Bring down the 3. 8 plus 3 gives us an 11. So f of 4, when we evaluate it, is going to give us 11. So I've got another example set up here. I'm going to delete this. So we just saw f of x, and sometimes we'll see, instead of saying f of x, they'll give us g of x. Sometimes they'll give us h of x. Just know that that means y, okay? So if you were looking at an equation, this g of x would be like your y. And just like we did in our last example, if we're trying to find g of 6, I'm just going to bring my equation down. And anywhere where I see an x, I'm going to replace it with a 6. So I've got negative 3. I'm going to replace that with a 6 minus 1. So I'm going to get that g of 6 equals, if I have negative 3 times 6, that gives me negative 18. Bring the minus 1 down. So I get that g of 6 equals negative 19. So again, whenever it says g of some number or f of some number, you just have to put that number in wherever you see x in our function above. So if you're getting set up for the functions and function notation notes, we're given these two functions, and all they want us to do is evaluate these three numbers, evaluate the functions at those three numbers. So if I'm finding f of 3, I need to find my f of x function. Make sure you're finding f of x, which is this x plus 7. So again, anywhere where I see an x, I'm just going to replace that with a 3, and then you can solve. Now with the g of 10, we need to make sure that we're using the g of x function, not the f of x function. And anywhere where we see an x, we're going to put a 10 in. Same thing with this f of negative 2. I'm going back to my f of x. Anywhere where I see an x, I'm putting negative 2. And you are now ready to evaluate all of these three.